and welcome. This is another great episode of Enterprise Friday, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic capital and hub of Nigeria, Lagos. My name is Henry Igwebike. I will kick off today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms right here at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us right here in our studios Ikechukwu Amaichi. He is the managing director, editor-in-chief of The Niche on Sunday newspaper. Thank you so very much, sir, for being here.
My pleasure, Henry. How are you?
Fine, thank you. It's been a while. The last time we had you on right here was close to a year or more.
Yeah, more than that.
More than that.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, you are still in your former office.
Yes,
there.
exactly. At the former studio that we had. Thank you so very much also for making this time out to be with us. So let's kickstart this morning, ladies and gentlemen, with the first daily on our desk. But this time, let's take it beyond the shores of Nigeria. And this is because the story we have concern us as a people and Nigerians, and it's coming from the GhanaWeb.com, where we have it that the Ga Traditional Council has issued a statement disassociating itself from the activities of one Eze, Dr. Chukwudi Jude Ihenetu, who is alleged to have been parading himself as the king of the Igbo community in Ghana. In a press release signed by Evelyn Emewetso, a registrar of the Ga Traditional Council, on behalf of the president following an emergency meeting, under the leadership of the king, they said that the community does not recognize or affiliate itself with the traditional activities of Dr. Chukwudi. So I'd love you to speak on this particular matter. It's been brewing for quite some time now. We've seen what I would call the xenophobic activities of Ghanaians or Nigerians, looting some of their properties and destroying some when they have the opportunity. What's your stance on this particular matter?
It's unfortunate, of course, considering the relationship between Ghana and Nigeria. Those people are brothers in the real sense of the word, and we've come a long way. The history of Nigeria is almost intertwined with the history of Ghana, and we were colonized by the same British colonial masters, and we share a lot in common. So if we are now talking about xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in Ghana, it is no longer South Africa, it is now Ghana. I think that is unfortunate. But that said, again, on the issue of Ezendibo in Ghana, I think we need to do something about this craze now for title, about this craze for it is the same thing that is causing problems in Nigeria and all that. Some people are going to hide behind the issue of it is against our tradition, particularly in Africa, where people tend to cling to their traditions, whether they believe in it or not, to launch these xenophobic attacks. But I think as a people also, we need to be more conscious of the sensibilities of the people we live in their lands.
Okay, talking about the host community now,
yes,
isn't it?
Yeah.
But what do you have to say about, because we've seen other cultures like the Chinese, wherever they find themselves, they build a little community and they call it Chinatown. In Lagos, we have it by Olushosu. You see the red buildings there, built with the architecture of the Chinese people, even painted in red color, which symbolizes the color of China. Is there anything wrong, really, for people from a particular demography to come to a place and say, we want to build a community and call it our own? Is there anything wrong with it, in the real sense of it?
There may not. But again, like I said, you need to identify with the sensibilities of your host in the community. If they say they don't want it, why not? Now it has led to xenophobic attacks. Who is going to speak for them? Of course, the Nigerian government won't lift a finger.
Very true.
So who is going to speak for them? So we need to be more conscious of what we do, where we do it. And it's a different thing if you are living in America and you are answering Ezendibo in America.
Okay.
They don't care because that is not in their tradition. They don't have kings and queens and all that. So it might not strike them as it has struck the Ghanaians in the community that we are talking about.
Because they actually see it as domineering. The Igbo people are coming to dominate them. They're coming to take over their land. And it's been stated that this Dr. Chukwudi bought about 50 hectares of land that he desires to build a community. And the truth of the matter is, he bought those land. It wasn't acquired under duress. So is this more of envy? Is it more of the inferiority complex of the host community?
Like I said, it may be all of the above.
Okay.
But even if you come back to your own country, these people who are attacking Igbos everywhere, the properties that all of them were bought, none was confiscated. For instance, if you come to Lagos State where you live, I've not seen an Igbo man who is on Omonile.
Very true.
They buy their land, they buy all those things. Yet at the end of the day, so much noise is being made about Ndi Igbo wanting to take over their community, Ndi Igbo wanting to take over their state, Ndi Igbo wanting to take over their tribe, for whatever it is worth. We need to introspect as a people so that we don't put ourselves in harm's way at any given point in time. Look, we can adduce all the reasons why what the Ghanaian community is doing is wrong. And in a sense, it is wrong.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, who lifts a finger for you? The Nigerian government is not going to do that. It's not. I can assure you. Not with the present xenophobic feelings also against us in our own country. They're not going to lift a finger for you in Ghana. So you better advise yourself and don't do those things that will put you in harm's way. That's all I'm saying.
Very true. So very true, because I truly believe that it is our responsibility to respect the host community, respect their tradition, respect their culture, respect their ways of life, so we can live in harmony. Just like our guest here did say, we have so much in common with Ghana, and I think this is the best time for us to live as one and be brothers. Now let's come back home to the Punch newspaper this morning. Big story: shocking surge, electricity subsidy jumps 220% to 2 trillion naira. And on the top strip here, we have federal government by Kutney resume talks on Lagos Airport mega project. And also we have interesting stories like still on the top strip of the same newspaper. ADC Kickstart 2027 manifesto drive. Mr. Amici, let's talk about this. First, what do you think about the coalition? The manifesto drive is ongoing. Do you really think it will cut across the minds of Nigerians?
What do they mean by manifesto drive?
Manifesto drive, reorienting the people, letting them know what their principles, their mission, their vision is, so they can, of course, bring them together under the same roof.
Well, if that's what they are doing, that's good, because part of the deficit we have in this so-called democracy is that the political parties cannot be distinguished ideologically. It is almost impossible to say this is what PDP believes in, or this is what APC believes in, or this is what ADC believes in, and this is what they are promising the people that they're going to do. When you have issues or things like that, clear-cut ideologies, clear-cut programs, then the people will be in a better position to make a choice, to say we are going for party A or we are going for party B because of this and this and this. But where there is no line at all dividing, not even to talk of a thin line, where there is no line at all dividing the political parties, they are only vehicles of convenience for those who want to ride to their political destination, which is public office. Then it becomes almost impossible to know what you are voting for and why you are voting for that person or that political party. So it is, and that's why it is easy now for politicians to prostitute, as it were, politically. Today they are in APC, tomorrow they are in PDP, and next tomorrow they are in ADC. So, and you ask yourself, what is the difference between one political party and the other? If it is easy for political parties to, or for politicians to just change political parties as if they are changing the clothes they wear.
But is it possible to possibly blame the electorate here? Because just like you rightly said, political parties in Nigeria are not akin to ideology. Is it possible to say the electorate themselves are equally not so perturbed about ideology, and therefore action meets reaction? Our politicians do not care, creating ideology which of course they feel does not even meet the demands or the yearnings of Nigerians?
It goes beyond what the electorates want or do not want. The truth of the matter is that do the electorate, do they even have a choice? Look, I was also making this explanation the other day on another TV station, and I was saying that the democracy is a process. The periodic elections we have here every 4 years is only part of the democratic process. It's only part of the electoral process. There is what we call the primaries and all that. INEC starts registering voters, and so one stage leads to the other. Now, let's take for instance, they just concluded Lagos State local government election. Who were the candidates? Who selected them? So where a group of people, only one man, decides, like the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory will tell us that all the people who contested the election in Rivers State when he was governor, that he bought funds for them. So only him decided who was going to run for election. So you bring candidates and place them on the ballot. At the end of the day, the electorate have a fait accompli. They don't even have a choice.
But that is for their own party. That was a primary internal belief that they had. So the electorate had the choice. Why not we believe it's because other people or opposition are not coming forward? Because everything Yesom Wike said at the time was because he was with the PDP. So the question is, don't you think that the people have refused to provide for themselves alternatives and therefore have no choice but to go for what they can see?
Does your constitution provide for independent candidacy? No. So the same process that takes place in APC is the same process that takes place in PDP. The people have no place in Nigeria's democracy. That's the point I'm trying to make. This is the only democracy I know of. Democracy is defined in the classic definition of one-time American president, Abraham Lincoln, as the government of the people, by the people, for the people. In other words, for any system to be called a democratic system, it must revolve around the people. The people must have a say in who governs them. Today in Nigeria, do your votes count? So, look, my brother, there are so many issues to deal with when it comes to this so-called democracy we claim, we practice, or we claim we have in this country. So it is not as simple as that. The people are crying of low voter turnout in the local government election in Lagos, and I am saying it's going to be worse in 2027.
For the general election?
For the general election. In 2023, I think it was about 30-something% that came out to vote. So of the 97 million registered voters, only about 23 million voted. It will be worse in 2027 because, and like I also said, Ikechukwu Mechi won't go out to vote in 2027.
Why, if I might ask?
Because of what happened in 2023. Because my vote will not count. And there is nothing to show me that there's going to be anything different in 2027. Look at what happened in Edo. So that if you even say that what happened in 2023 was that it was a mistake.
Yes.
All the subsequent elections, the standalone elections since then, what has changed? What changed in Edo? How is it that people... Look, a friend of mine who lives in Abuja told me of the experience that his son had in the 2023 presidential election. The guy had just now come of age. There's a university student. That was the first time he was going to vote in his life. And he was so enthusiastic about going there to vote.
Yeah.
He said the guy voted in an estate where apparently a minister of the Buhari government then lived. And you know, he said that they waited and waited and waited, and 5 o'clock the guy was not back. They called him and he said that they were still waiting to vote. The minister came out to do they chased him away, and the people stood there. And he said, in fact, by 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., that himself and the wife had to prepare food, drove in 2 cars, went to that place, and the guy said, look, that they should go. So they dropped one of the cars now for him.
The young man?
Yes, now the young man. Yeah. And he was there. They counted the votes, and the person he voted for, and who apparently almost 90% of the people at that polling booth rooted for, carried the day.
Yes.
So the guy was happy, came back. Then when the result was announced, it was flipped. The person they rejected was, he said the guy cried all day and said he was never ever going to vote in Nigeria again. And a lot of people came to that inevitable decision that, look, Henry, what is it worth that you go out there under the sun, under the rain, inclement weather, and you say you are exercising your franchise, the right to decide who superintends over the affairs of your country. At the end of the day, the result that was announced at the polling booth, and everybody goes on with that result, what will be announced by INEC later will be a different thing altogether. And you are, if you complain, they say go to court. And you go to court, of course, you know what the outcome is going to be. So, look, we deceive ourselves unless we make up our minds. And I have said this before, that it will get to a stage where that election must be won and lost at that polling booth, even if it means, because look, these guys are deploying violence to get what they want, and the only way to stop them is to prove to them that you also have the capacity.
But don't you think that will be all around a chaos, which of course doesn't defeat the essence of democracy?
That is what they want. So how do you stop them? How? Because if you don't match them, there must be deterrence. If you don't deter them, they will continue doing what they are doing. And every 4 years they call you out. They spend billions of naira.
So which means that if we allow this slide, we would keep having the worst of us leading the best of us. Is that what you see when you look into your crystal ball, political crystal ball, that is?
Well, you've answered the question yourself. Because at the end of the day, you see, Nigeria is about the only country where those who superintend over your affairs are people you can't vouch for in terms of character, where they are coming from. How is it that a preponderance of your political office holders in Nigeria are people who don't have certificates, where they claim they schooled? You go to that place, it is not true. People who, look, things are wrong, terribly wrong with what we do here. And you know, people tell you, let sleeping dogs lie and let's move on. We moved on in 2023. Where are we today?
But if I might ask, let's maybe, if possible, for the little time we have, look back to how all of this happened. What do you really think, and where do you think it all started from? Is it from the Fourth Republic, the Second Republic, the Third Republic? We are currently with the Fourth Republic. Where do you think, and who do you think dropped the ball the first time?
It started right from the First Republic. It has always been there. But the reason is that it only gets worse by the day. Of course, don't forget that what led to the coup and led to this was the outcome of the I think the 1964 or so general elections.
Elections, yeah. The corruption and everything that went down with it.
In the West.
Yes.
Don't forget Operation Waitier and all that. Don't forget that the young army officers who staged a coup in 1966, 15th January, that the only reason which Babangida has confirmed in his recent book, that they said that we are going to bring out Obafemi Awolowo, who had been imprisoned by his political rivals in 1962, to bring him out of prison and make him the prime minister. So it was the political corruption of that era that led to the coup. Second Republic, it was also the crisis in the same Southwest, where Aken Omobiro and co won elections, or were declared winners of elections that the people felt they did not actually win. That was why Buhari and co struck on 31st December 1983. So, and in this Fourth republic, we have also seen the trend that it is not changing. Instead, it is getting worse.
But how can we get it better? Because for every bad situation, there's always an antidote. There's that little antivirus that can cure it. So what do you think can make it better?
The people saying enough is enough, even if it means fighting for what you believe in. Because if you believe...
So when you mean fight, exactly what are you talking about? Is it intellectual fight or what fight? Is it the physical fight?
All manner of fight. Look, the only way you can stop somebody that is bullying you is to confront the bully. If you run away, he will continue. But the very moment you stand up to a bully, he stops. So Nigerians need to stand up to those who are bullying them. Yeah. Because look, it's not about prayers. You can't continue praying. Because if anybody who thinks that those who are doing this will change, all of a sudden say, okay, we've had enough, and therefore let's do what is right. The person is living in a fool's paradise. It's not going to happen. Never. So you must be able to confront them, and they see there is enough capacity. You must resist them. If you don't resist them, they will continue. And they don't owe you any apologies for what they are doing. For them, that is the hallmark of political dexterity. They are the masters of the game. So, look at what happened in Rivers State in 2023, and for crying out loud, where people were literally stopped from voting. Yes. Where elections that were won by other people
was literally given to others.
Given to others. The impunity. Americans now call it in your face. And you are told to go to hell.
Well, this is all very synonymous to what Rotimi Amaechi said. He said the reason why people like them, the elite, continue to do what they do is because the people have not stoned them. That if we stone them, that they would stop. Unfortunately, the same Amaechi who had said this is not yet ready to change. I do not know if anytime he gets that opportunity, if he would do in accordance to what he has advised other people to do. But I would love you to speak to this matter just before we leave it for this particular segment. And it's coming from the Guardian newspaper. The man Buhari, live, legacy, controversies, and I would love you to see this. 12 million votes left behind. Muhammad Buhari, late president, is notable for the 12 million votes he had always, gone home with at every point he contested. And it has been said now, 12 million votes left behind. Who do you think that possibly would be bequeathed to?
Unfortunately, nothing about Buhari ever changed until he died. Of course, he had 12 million votes. He had 150 cows that never increased, never decreased. In all the years that we knew him, it is only those 150 cattle. So these fabled 12 million votes, assuming, without conceding, that there are actually 12 million people out there who are rooting for Buhari at every point in time, I should think that now some of them could have died since 2003 when he started claiming that number. Because I think that this number came up after he contested the 2003 presidential election against President Olusegun Obasanjo then.
So, but it continued till 2011, 2014.
That is what I'm saying. Yes. That it started that time. And if you look at it, that's how many years ago? 22 years ago. Are we saying that none of those 12 million people have died? Are we saying that none of those people took the decision that I have taken not to vote because it doesn't make any sense? Are we saying that no new people have been, because those who were even born in 2003 as of today will be 22 years, so they have also come of age and they can vote? Are we saying that no new people have been recruited into this? So that I don't want to believe that there is, or there are 12,000 people out there, 12 million people out there who are waiting to be inherited as part of the decision. But of course, that the politicians are a special breed, particularly the Nigerian politicians. What they are struggling, what everybody is struggling, is to inherit that phantom 12 million votes that Buhari left behind. Even all these razzmatazz being done by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to create a godlike image of Buhari in death. It is
towards the target, towards what? The 12 million votes.
Targeted towards those million votes. The Atiku Abubakars, the Malameru fights from the north are also positioning themselves.
Because this brings me, because this is more like a metaphor, and metaphorically speaking, Buhari, either we like it or not, has left a very big vacuum. Now, the north of Nigeria, before now, when Buhari was still alive, saw him like that symbolic value proposition that they all rallied around. Now that he is gone, I would love to believe that is what they're talking about now. Who do you think is best fitted to wear the Tuga? Who do you think the northern part of Nigeria would love to listen to? Is it the Atiku Abubakar? Is it the El Rufai? Is it the Kwankwaso, which of course everyone has said is more relatable to the people of Kano? Now that particular vacuum, which everyone is jostling for, who do you think the North would love to rally around with what you see?
It is difficult to say because, again, whether you like Buhari or not, Buhari came along with a whole lot of value propositions that none of these people could exactly fit into.
Not Atiku Abubakar, not El Rufai?
None. Buhari was a combination of so many things. His religious zealotry, his so-called honesty, identifying, in quote, with the poor masses. So the Talakawas saw him as one of their own. Now, is it Atiku Abubakar or is it Malam Nasri El Rufai? Nasri El Rufai may inherit the religious descent of Muhammadu Buhari. He may also inherit the Fulani irredentism of Muhammadu Buhari, but he cannot be said to be a descendant of the Talakawas.
Okay.
He does not. So Buhari had so many things that made the Buhari a phenomenon that nobody that I see today has all those qualities
in one.
Okay. So each person will grab whatever he can. If Northerners are going to rally around any of them, it will be on the basis of let power come back to us. Don't forget, that was also what happened in 2015. Jonathan broke a gentleman's agreement that he was going to do only one term. And because of the sentiments surrounding the death of Umaru Yar'Adua, so people said, okay, let us allow him to do another term so that he can do his own term, so the power comes back to the North. And Jonathan agreed. In 2015, he reneged. That was what united the North behind Buhari.
So don't you see that in 2027, knowing what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is making rounds with, we can see the increasing level of nepotism as made possible with his administration, and lots of things that the North are not so very comfortable with.
It may not necessarily work that way, because the circumstances are not the same. They are different. Like I explained, what happened in 2015, if you ask me, the North had genuine grievances.
Okay.
And they rallied round the only man they thought already had 12 million votes. So it was what it was. But now, yes, the North may not feel comfortable with what Tinubu is doing, but going by the unwritten agreement,
which is
the way power should rotate, North and South. Buhari did 8 years, for crying out loud. So the South should do 8 years.
Yes, the South should do eight years, agreed, but what the opposition is basically trying to do is possibly bring in Peter Obi to complete the 8 years and let the power come to the North.
If they do that,
yes,
fine. But any attempt to bring a northerner, Atiku Abubakar, to run against Bola Tinubu is going to do the same magic that Jonathan's reneging on that agreement did on Buhari's acceptability. So if Atiku comes, even Southerners who don't believe in Bola Tinubu will be forced to vote for him.
You think that love is there? Because numbers of
it is not a question of,
as I speak to you right now, I'm not comfortable with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Henry, it is not a question of love.
Yes.
In 2015, Buhari, or before 2015, Buhari was never a darling of the elite, of northern elite. They never believed in him. They never saw eye to eye with him politically. It was the Talakawas. But when Jonathan did what he did, even the northern elite rallied around Buhari. Not because they loved him, but because he became a political, they saw it as an existential threat, what Jonathan did. So the Southerners who may rally around Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not do so because now they suddenly love him. But unless there is another candidate from the South, but if it is a Bola Ahmed Tinubu and power slipping to the North, it may go the other way. It may solidify the support of Tinubu in the South rather than taking away votes now from him. I don't know who in the South. Honestly, we'll go for an Atiku Abubakar in 2027. No. I don't see it. I don't see it. So if I were Atiku Abubakar, and if they so much believe that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done poorly in office, ADC should look for a southern presidential candidate. But if he hijacks the ticket like he did in 2023 in PDP, that may be the beginning of the end of ADC.
Well, let's see how that goes, though. Atiku Abubakar is about 78. I would love to believe he feels that the time is no longer on his side, and that desperate desire of becoming the president, just like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, Emilokon, it's my turn, because he equally feels that time is not on his side. Eventually he got the ticket, he is our president, not doing so fantastically well according to what we see today. More Nigerians are really not comfortable with what we see right now in Nigeria. But let's see how that goes. It's a developing story right here on Enterprise Television. We promise to bring that to you. And just to let you know that Ike Chukwuamechi would be here to take us on our main conversation. That's when we return. 151 top police officers under investigation. It's still Enterprise Friday. Please don't go anywhere.